This is the Central Florida Computer Society and the Sarasota Technology User Group, Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG. For Sunday, July 14th, 2024, I'm Hewie Poplock and welcome. Can't believe it's halfway through the year already and we're into July. And you know what? It's hot. And I can remember my parents saying, "Yeah, what do you expect? It's like as hot as the 4th of July in Florida." And you know what? That's what it was not too long ago. So let me stop the share here and welcome everybody. We've got a good crowd today. You're here nice and early, and I appreciate it. That's because most of you, if it's real hot outside, you're enjoying the air conditioning inside. If it's not hot outside, open the windows up. But it's hot here and it's muggy. But that's why I enjoy these meetings because it's a constant temperature and I'm comfortable most of the time. I'm glad you're here. And we've got a lot of items to cover today. As usual, the procedure is I go to the WinSIG website, and let me go ahead and share my screen. If I can figure out what I'm doing here today. Share the screen. You should see my screen, and I'll bring up my Windows here. And as you can see, I open up Facebook, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, and then there is, well, Zoom is open because that's how I started the meeting. I'm going to close these down a little bit to give me some room. I don't think I need Facebook open either, but if I do that, it will close up. So I'll do this. And then I have all of the links for today in my
Leaving to go to work, you do.
And let me go ahead and hit open URLs. And you're seeing up here at the top, it's opening all 20 some odd websites. And then give it a second to do that. And this is a Chrome extension that I use, which I really like, a list of URLs. And I've shown it to you before. If you need more information about it, just drop me a note in the chat and I'll see if I can find it. Okay, we got at least the beginning ones open. Most of them are open now. That's a nice thing about this new computer is the fact that I can do this and get away with it, where the other one that start running clunky and slow and so on. So let's go to the first one. Let's first go to Hewie.net so you can see what I'm talking about. So we'll go to Hewie.net, and this is it. I'll full screen it. And then I'll go to WinSIG, and here are all of the topics for today. And then, as you'll see, there's no others down here because the pages on my software that I use for my website, I can only have 6 months of articles. And so what I did is I archived the January to June of 2024. If you go there, you will see there's June and May and so on. And there is a link here that will take you to the YouTube video recording of that. Of course, today's is not done, so it's not up there. So we'll go back to the WinSIG, and so you see all of the articles we're going to cover today, and I've got them all loaded already. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this because we don't need it. And so the first article that we're going to cover is from Bleeping Computer, and it's Windows 11 was an update. And I'm going to jump to the last one here in just a couple of minutes by the request of Jim Glass. So, but before I do that, let's go ahead and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to find the reading mode of Chrome. And when I click it, the reading mode is over on the right. And so I'm going to just make it bigger. So here is the website, and here is that same website in reading mode. And so the article is Windows 11, and the knowledge base ending in 442 was released this past week. There's 31 fixes and changes. And it was July 9th it was released. It was this past Tuesday. And Microsoft is rolling it out, and it tells you what's new in the update. The update adds a new Game Pass. I don't do anything with that. The Show Desktop button is on the taskbar again by default. So if you come down here to the bottom, you'll see it says, I don't know if you can see it or not, it says Show Desktop. And if I clear it minimizes everything. If I click it again, does it bring it back? Yes. Okay, good. But that's in the bottom right-hand corner is in this new update to, now this is Windows 11. I don't know if any of these things are in Windows 10. I'm sorry, I just can't take the time to learn to know both of them, and I don't have a Windows 10 machine that I have handy anyway. And let's see, the Update Effects File Explorer. You now can create 7-zip and tape archive or tar files using the context menu. So if you have a bunch of files and you right mouse click, 7-zip and tar are now choices in compressing them. That's new. And then the update adds support for emoji 15.1. So they've added some more emojis, and you can copy files from the Windows Share window. Just click the new copy button, and it starts the rollout of new account manager on the start menu. I'm not sure what that is. I haven't played with that. The update makes it easier to see when you have selected files and folders in File Explorer, and they made some changes to Copilot and so on. So this article is a good article to know what has changed if you're keeping up your Windows 11 up to date. Now, you'll notice something over here that you may not have seen before. And this is what this morning I said, you know what? This has been on my desktop now for a week or two, and I don't know what it is. I know what it does, but I didn't know where it came from. It comes from a website called Speechify, and it is a Chrome extension. And what you can do with it, and I think the extension is free. And for what it does, I think is also free, but Speechify itself is not a free, they give you some free access. But I think for this, but let me just show you what it does. And Jim Glass, pay attention. When I highlight that and I click this,
Microsoft is rolling out the KB 504.04442 cumulative update for Windows 11 23H2, which includes up to 31 improvements and changes. The changes include a new feature that adds back the Show Desktop button, which Copilot replaced. This update was released as part of Microsoft.
So you can either highlight something or just tell it to read the whole page, and it will do so. So I know Jim has trouble reading some of the pages. This will read it to you. There are some other things that you can do. You can show the library. You can take a screenshot with this, and there's some settings that you can go in and make the settings. Again, that's a Chrome extension, and it's called Speechify. And I believe I've got a page on that as well. So let's go ahead and close this. And then I'm going to jump all the way down here to the end. And let's see, where was that? Maybe I didn't get it. A minute mail. No, I guess I don't have them all up there. Sorry, Jim. Let's see. Let's go back to Hewie.net then. And he wanted me to jump to the end. And so we'll find Hewie.net and WinSIG, jump down to the end, 10-minute mail, free tools. And which one are you talking about, Jim? I guess. How does a CAPTCHA know that I'm not a robot? Is that the one, Jim?
Correct.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at it then. So again, I'm going to come up and I'm going to click on the reading mode. Now the reading mode, one thing with the reading mode, you can change the width of it. So I'm making the website small and then the reading mode here. So how does a CAPTCHA know that I'm not a robot? Well, everyone knows the CAPTCHA tests on websites where you either have click on numerous pictures of cars, traffic lights, bicycles, motorcycles, enter confusing combinations of numbers and letters, or simply click to confirm that you're not a robot. So we have to use a robot to show that we're not a robot. There used to be so many of these tests that it was downright annoying, especially if you needed several attempts. But you have ever asked yourself whether a robot or an AI could also pass these tests? Well, how does CAPTCHA know that it was filled in by a human? And what does the term even stand for? So let's clear this up. So what does CAPTCHA stand for? Well, it stands for Completely Automated Public Turing Test to tell computers and humans apart, and is therefore a term for an automated public Turing test to distinguish humans from computers. The term Turing test was coined by Alan Turing, a British mathematician and computer scientist who wanted to use certain methods to test whether machines can think and act like humans. Turing tests can also be used in testing AI for creativity and awareness. CAPTCHAs have been around since 2000 and are deliberately designed to sound similar to CAPTCHA, as they are primarily used to intercept and filter our bots on websites, for example, to avoid spam or prevent automated purchases by bots. So how does the CAPTCHA test work? CAPTCHAs are usually quite simple, but always require you to fill a task. Sometimes you have to recognize certain letters and numbers that have been distorted and enter them manually. In other cases, you have to recognize certain patterns on pictures, such as the existence of traffic lights, bridges, and animals. Let's see, this is a part of an ad. The tests are always randomized. After reloading the website, a different task should appear after each time. This is intended to avoid repetition that would make it easy for bots to circumvent the system. It's used to be difficult for computers to solve CAPTCHAs, as certain algorithms had to be built to reliably recognize patterns. However, the constant progress in the use of artificial intelligence has now made it possible for bots to solve these tests easily. So they can now do it. So how does CAPTCHA know if I'm not a robot? This brings us to the previous question of how CAPTCHAs can still work today, even if they're generally used less frequently than in the past. There's a simple solution to this: moving the mouse. That's the solution, moving the mouse. Modern CAPTCHA uses movement tracking to track the movement of the cursor. When a person moves the mouse, the route of the cursor is practically never the same. The movement is never the same speed. Bots, on the other hand, automatically click on CAPTCHA boxes or images in a perfect straight line, for example, from the bottom to the top, directly to the box. Websites can recognize this and block access. Occasionally, you may have to click on a box that says, "I am not a robot," and then solve for a more complex CAPTCHA, which with images again. This is because your mouse movement might have been more robotic. So next time, try a little more swerving to make it clear that you're a human. This article was originally appeared in in a publication called PC Welt. It was translated from German. So, Jim, I hope that helps you understand what the reCAPTCHA is. So, a lot of us thought it was because we want to be in the right place, but it's not. It's how you get there, how you move your mouse. Let's go ahead and go to the next article, and we'll hit the reading mode. Microsoft adds spell check and autocorrect to Notepad after 41 years, amid Windows 11 update issues. So in this latest update, they have changed this. So let's go ahead and look at, let me full screen this so you don't get too confused here. And you see, let me make this bigger. So we'll go to view and oops, no, it's edit font. Let's make this, make it 48 and then come back. And now you can see it. Now I misspelled a word in this article. And you can see now in Word or Notepad, it shows it with a red underline. That didn't appear before this new version. And if I right mouse click, you'll see spelling. And when I click, when I hover over the word spelling, it gives me either possibilities or ignore accessible, ignore all, add to dictionary, or turn off spell check. So I'll click that. It makes the change, and there it is. And let's say I want to, I don't know the meaning of this word. Of course I do, but let's right mouse click and come down here. And then you can define with Bing, and it opens up Bing and goes to the word and its meaning. So you can do that very easily. And let's go ahead and close that and come back to where we were. So those are a couple of new things that are in the new Notepad that I really like it, and it's made it a lot more usable. I use Notepad all the time. And the other thing that Notepad did not too long ago, and let me bring it up here again, is you'll notice here, I've got all kinds of tabs of different notepads. And if I minimize it, they all go there and I can save them. I can leave them open if I want to. So I use Notepad a lot. If you don't use it, one of the biggest things I like to use it for is to go out and if something is in, excuse me, let me clear my throat here. What you might do is, let's say this is formatted. What I'll do is highlight this, drop it into Notepad, and it strips out all of the let me just show you what I mean. I'll take that. I'm going to do a Control C, and then we'll go back to Notepad, and we'll just move it down here because this isn't something I'm going to keep anyway. We'll come back down here, and I'll hit Control V to paste it, and you'll see all of the formatting is gone. Just what I have in Notepad, and then I can copy it again and then put it back into whatever document I want, and it has stripped out all of the information. So I use that quite often to do that, or to get some quick notes, or to copy something and then drop it into Perplexity or into one of the other bots. So let's go ahead and close that, and let's go ahead and stop the share for a moment and see if there are any questions or comments about what I showed you. Like some new things, I think, maybe. Speechify, probably, the CAPTCHA and what it is and why.
I put into the chat the Speechify and another one called VoiceIn, the add-ins for the Chrome that talk to you.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are on Windows 10 and you really are jealous of those people that have tabs in Notepad, in the Microsoft Store, there is an app called Notepad with an S on the end. And it's a very basic Notepad app. And with the exception of the fact that it has tabs, and you can do it in Windows 10 that way.
Yeah, I use the tabs, but I have a habit of opening too many and leaving them open, where before I would just close them and I'd have to remember where I put them. Okay, any other comments? You're quiet today. All right, let's go back and see what else I can cover with you about Windows. Okay, we're at 32 common Windows mistakes to avoid. Let's go ahead and go back here. So there's 32 things. And stop making your desktop a dumping ground. I do it more than I should, as I can show you here. I have more icons on here than I really should have. And what I do is I put a lot of them there, and then I need to delete them. And some of them are from various presentations I've done, or from something I just needed there. Or sometimes when I install something or update, it will put the same icon on the screen again, and I have to delete it. It puts it on the desktop. So some of these are duplicates that I don't really need here. Here's one, for example. To get rid of it, because it's got that little arrow on there, that means it's a shortcut. So if I delete it, it's just going to delete the shortcut. And so if I delete it and hit the delete here, it goes away, but the program's still available and I can still get to it. But some of these, let's say this is a picture that I've got posted. If I delete this, it's gone, and I may not have it anywhere else. So I need to be careful of that. Okay, let's see. We are sharing, so we want to come back to here. So stop making your desktop a dumping ground. I forgot who it was, and I wouldn't want to embarrass him if he's here, because I think I just remembered who it is. But if you look at their desktop, it is just filled with icons, and it really shouldn't be there. And every time your computer loads, all of those icons have to load in memory. So they do take away some of your memory ability by having them on your desktop. So it's a good idea to do that. So tolerating a cluttered desktop. And then there's some ways in which you can also change what the desktop looks like. So let's come down here. By right mouse click, if you go by sort by, I can click name and they'll all be alphabetized, or by size, or item type, or date modified. And so you can sort these display settings. No, that's not what I want. So you can do that. And then you can also have them line up or not line up. Right now they're in columns and rows, but sometimes you can just scatter them anywhere you want. Then you can tell it to line up. Ignoring keyboard shortcuts. If you aren't using keyboard shortcuts, you should. There's a lot of them. Now, how do you remember all of them? Well, you take one or two and use them for a while, and then they'll become commonplace. Control C, Control V, those I've been using since WordStar on my Osborne. So it's been around a long time. So copy and paste is been through many operating systems. But there's other things that you can do. Alt Tab. If you Alt Tab, and let me do that, what you'll do is you'll see all of the windows that I have open. I'm holding the Tab key down. And then when I hit, I'm holding the Alt key down. And when I hit the Tab key, it changes to any place that I want it to go to if I let go of it. So let's see, let me find one that's on this screen. Whoops. And go back there and let go, and it brings it up. Now I want to go back to there, I can come right back. So holding the Alt key down and hitting Tab, if you've got a lot of windows open, it will let you go through each of the windows and get to the one that you want. And so that's a keyboard shortcut. And there's a lot of them And what you want to do is find a couple that look like you'd use them till you learn them, then try something else. Don't try to learn them all. You never will. Keeping your PC on 24/7. This is pretty much personal choice, I think. Waiting for your computer to boot up each morning is a pain, but letting it run all day and night is terrible for the health of your machine. There are people who don't believe that, and they believe that when you turn it on, it has a sudden rush, and that's using it's using things in your computer that, when does a light bulb burn out? When you turn it on, because all that power is going to it. It's surging. So there's different thoughts on that. This article says, though, it's not good for your machine to let it run all day. Not only does it waste electricity, but it doesn't give your PC a chance to clear out memory leaks and other gunk. Shut down your computer at the end of each day. If you really can't bear the wait, enable hibernation mode for a faster startup. But don't forget to restart completely every once in a while. Restart is not the same as shutting down. Restart is a total boot, where if you shut down, certain things are left. It remembers on the hard drive some things about it. So when you start up, it helps it start up faster. So you really need to do a reboot every once in a while, which then is a cold boot. Shutting it off is not a cold boot. Let's see. And don't forget to restart completely. Okay, the next one is plugging in random flash drives. If you find a flash drive in the street, don't go plugging it in your computer because you're curious of what's on it. It could have a virus or malware, or could have one of the things that hold your computer hostage. So don't just pick up something and read it. Not a good idea. And when somebody hands you one and says, I've got all my files on here, you don't know if they've got a virus on their computer, and are they handing you the virus? That's why somebody said, well, they carry all of their health information on a flash drive. So if in an emergency, the ambulance person can plug it in and they can take a look at all of your information. Well, and then someone said, well, they won't do that because they don't know how protected that particular drive is. So you might want to think that again if that's something that you do. Leaving your screen unprotected. If you got other people that walk in and out of the room where your computer is, if you're at work, or especially if you're in a public place, you want to make sure. I don't even leave my computer or my iPad at the table. If I have to go pick something up at the counter, or if I go to the restroom, I carry it with me. I don't care what it looks like. I'm not going to leave it there, because all somebody has to do is grab it and run out the door. So I don't think that's a good idea anyway. But don't leave your screen unprotected if you walk away from it, because then somebody can do anything you want. Same thing with your phone. If you're not using a password on your phone, that means that somebody gets your phone and all they got to do is click the button to start it, and they're in, and they've got access to almost everything that's on your phone. So you always want to have a password or a PIN, at least to make it harder for them to get into it. Running too many startup programs. And we're going to talk about the task manager and how you can find out what you have as startup programs. But a lot of programs automatically put themselves to start up and have something running in the background to make it quicker to access that particular program. But a lot of times you don't need that. You may not use the program but once in a while. So there's no sense in having that program running in the background. And we'll talk about how you can get into Task Manager in a little bit. Anyway, not making the most of Task Manager, and we've got one of the links is going to talk about Task Manager. And so there's more here. Give admin rights to everything. Don't do that. In most cases, if you buy a new computer, create the main user, make that an admin, and then make another user and make that you. And don't give you the admin ability. So if someone gets into your computer, they can't add programs to it. They've got to get in, they've got to change users and get into the admin user. So it's a way of protecting your system a little bit more. And also make sure you make regular backups. Not enabling file extensions. Mike is here. Mike and I, over the years, have always wondered why Microsoft makes hide file extensions of common programs the default in Windows, and you have to turn that on so you can see the extensions. It should always be the other way around. So if you've got the same file name for a doc and a JPEG, you can't tell which one's which unless you have the column that tells you. But if it says doc, you know right away. So that would be a better way to do it. So I always make sure that the file extensions show. Not customizing your pointer. You can see mine's a little bit bigger than it normally would be. And I've had it a lot bigger, but what I found that if it's too big, sometimes it overshadows something that I want people to see when I do a screen capture or if I'm showing something. So I made it a little bit smaller, but I used to have it a lot bigger. But you can change the size of your pointer. Running your OS on a hard drive. If possible, on most of the new computers, what you do is you get an SSD drive as your C drive, and if you need more space, then you get a D drive, and make that a hard drive. So run the operating system on an SSD because it's much faster, and then maybe store your data if you need a second drive. You can put either another SSD in, or you can make a hard drive, put a hard drive in there. And watch what you install, sketchy software. Just because you see something on Facebook that says this is great software, doesn't mean you should go and try it and install it, because you don't know what they're telling you to load. You don't know whether it's maybe it may have something that's keeping track of what you do, or will install a malware or a virus. So be very careful installing software that you're not familiar with, only because someone on Facebook said this is a great program. That's one way that they can get to your system, is by saying that, and it's their software. You install it, and then they can find ways to get to your hardware. Registry cleaners and PC optimizers, not a good idea unless you really know what you're doing. But in most cases, I do not recommend them. Not installing unwanted programs. Be careful what you install, as I said. Treating your hard drive like a black hole. Don't do what I do and save everything. Okay, let's go to the next article. And this is Task Manager. Let's go ahead and understanding Windows Task Manager. Let me let this read you this paragraph right here.
Windows Task Manager is a powerful application that is part of the Windows OS. It gives valuable information and insight into system resource usage. This group of articles details each aspect of Task Manager, how to perform the functions, and then use the results to troubleshoot.
This article discusses how to access Task Manager in Windows 10 and 11. So there's a lot of ways in which you can access Task Manager. Control-Alt-Delete will bring up a menu, and Task Manager will be on that menu. You can also do Control-Shift-Escape. You can search for the Task Manager, or you can right-click on Start and select Task Manager. However, what I like to use is if I just come down to the taskbar and right-click, Task Manager is now there. You just click it, and it opens up Task Manager. I'm sorry, I don't have a way right now on here to make this bigger. So let me clear my throat again. But this is what Task Manager is. And then you'll see over here on the left, and I'm going to talk about this, it has preferences, processes, preferences, app history, startup apps, users, details, and services. Now, if you don't have those words there, you may have icons there, and they look like this. If you hold your mouse over it, is it? Yeah, it does say startup apps right there, but because it's getting lost on the page, you might not see it. So if you want the words to show, just hit the menu bar, the hamburger bar, and it will show you those. So let's take a look at what this article is telling us. I'll minimize this so we can come back to it. The difference between versions, Windows 10 opens a minimized view. So you then have to make it bigger. Click on more details to open the full view. You may change this by removing the check mark in options minimize on use. The full menu will then become the default view. The top of the screen starts with a small set of menu items, file, which is run new task and exit, options, and view. And Windows 11 does not include the menu, but instead gives you quicker access to run new task and end task. A new feature is the efficiency mode. Below the menu in Windows 10 displays tabs used to navigate to available options, and Windows 11 shows them as a list of icons. So again, let's take a look. And I'm not seeing the list of icons they're talking about. I guess up here. If I full screen, does that make it bigger? No, just gives you more information, harder to see. So here are the items. The tabs now are on the left and they're not at the top. But there it does say run new task, processes. Now if I click on one of these, notice that they're moving around. And well, I'll come back to that because I'm not sure if it's going to tell us in this article. Windows 11 icons, processes, performance. That's the thing on the left-hand side. And explains what each one of them is. And then there's a summary. So let's take a look at it again. Just a couple of things. Whoops. We're back here. And you'll notice that it keeps changing because what we're doing right now is you can see the little drop down here. We're on CPU, and as the CPU usage changes, it changes. And they're in the order of the CPU. But just like Excel and a lot of other things in Windows, if it's in this type of a chart, columns and rows, you can adjust which one it's pointing to and alphabetize it. So if I go to the name and I click on it, it is now putting them by alphabetizing the types, and then in each type, alphabetizing them. So we got apps first, and then background processes. And then if we go down, and I guess that's it. But there's a lot. Oh, and then Windows processes. So there's a lot of things there. And so if you got something stuck, sometimes I have something that's stuck, and I'll right mouse click here, and I'll tell it to end the task. And so I don't have to reboot. It ends that task, and then I start up that particular program, and it's working fine. Occasionally, I have to do that with Outlook. Outlook all of a sudden freezes. I can't do anything with it. Well, I come in and I find Outlook, and then I tell it to end the task. Okay, the other thing that I want to show you here, and then you got CPU and memory and disk and network. And I'm not going to go through all of those things and what it tells, because in most cases, most of you don't need to know that. But what I like is the startup apps. This shows me everything that automatically is set to start up when Windows starts, if it says enabled. But let's say if I come down to, let me find one here, the Elgato Audio Control Watcher. I don't want that. All I have to do is click here, and it will disable it. And then click it again and it enables. So let's see if something I've turned off, it's disabled Microsoft Teams. I don't use it. I don't need anything from Teams to load, although Microsoft tries to load it. So I told it, disable that. I don't need it to load. If I want Teams, I'll load what it needs when I'm ready to use it. Let me see if there's something else I've disabled. Terminal mode. I don't use terminal mode. Some of you may. So you may have that enabled. I pretty much deleted everything I don't need to automatically boot up or start up when I boot up. But if there was something here that I did want to change, all I have to do is disable it. Okay, on that note, in this article, I'll close the article and I am going to stop the share. And comments, questions? Jim Glass, did it help you in the CAPTCHA and reCAPTCHA?
Yeah, it did. I keep having a problem with it because I can't see either the funny letters and I can't hear through the background noise the sounds. So I usually end up calling support to try to get a one-time password to get in when that is blocking me. It's very frustrating.
I'm sure it is. Okay, any other comments, questions? Drew?
I will put into the chat. There is a program in Windows called Task List and another one called Task Killer. And what they're good for is, I think it's Task Close, maybe. I'll put it in the chat. If you have a browser that's stuck, for example, and it has 20, you go into Task Manager and there are 20 Chrome tabs, processes running, and you got to kill them all one by one by one. The task, I'll put it in the chat. The Task Close, I think, or Task Kill, will allow you to use the word Chrome or Firefox or whatever happens to be stuck, and it will close as many tasks as there are that have that word in it. And that's built into Windows. So I'll throw that in the chat so that in case you get stuck where you have to close a lot of tasks, this is an easier way to do it.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? You're
Yeah,
all so quiet.
I have a
Go ahead.
simple question. I was in the chat and I was looking to set it to save, and I couldn't find that little section that's usually down at the bottom of the chat that lets you save it to, Google Drive or what
It's
have
at
you.
the top now, Jim.
Yeah, top right-hand corner.
Next to the little arrow in the box, there's 3 dots.
Oh, thank you for upgrades. They make things so much easier, don't they?
I think they have 2 or 3 people that when they test these things, oh, I'd rather have it up in the top right, and so they change it to the top right when there's no reason they should have done that. But somebody said, "Oh, I like it up there," or maybe it fits aesthetically, or when they program it, that's where it ended up. Who knows? Okay, any other comments, questions? How are we doing in time? We're doing good. All right. Except we're not getting very far in my list, are we? Let's go ahead and go back. And how to troubleshoot PCs remotely. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because this could be a whole program. And I think I've done it a few times, but I've also used it with some of you. And that's troubleshoot PCs remotely with Quick Assist. Over the years, Quick View or View, well, Mike, remind me, what's the one we used to use all the time?
Team Viewer.
Team Viewer, okay. And which is a good program. But Quick Assist is built into Windows all you have to do is you click on it on one end and it says, do you want to be the the leader or do you want to be the follower? I can't remember the words that they use, but you pick which one, and then it tells you either have the other person start up and get a set of numbers from them, or it'll give you a set of numbers and you give it to them over the phone, and it will connect you. And it works great. It's a great way to take control of somebody's computer to show them what's doing or to see what's going on when they say they're having a problem doing something and they can't express or discuss what it's doing. They don't have the words to do that. If you use Quick Assist, you can actually watch them do what they're doing and see what happens, and then be able to try to troubleshoot for them. Team Viewer, I'm not sure. Does Team Viewer work with Macs? Does anyone know?
I believe that it does.
So I know there's some people on here that have Macs that if somebody wants to help them and knows enough about Macs but may not have a Mac, they might be able to use Team Viewer, see what they're doing on their computer and advise them and work with them that way.
There is a new program that I just found that I use to replace TeamViewer, because TeamViewer has been cracking down on the free users a lot. I've heard some people that I know complain that they're getting locked out of TeamViewer. There's a program called RustDesk, RustDesk. It runs on Android, iOS, Mac, Windows, Linux. It's completely free and open source and is marketed as a replacement for TeamViewer. And it does everything that TeamViewer does, including giving you the ability to talk to the other person while you're helping them. So let's say, for example, Huey's going to help somebody with their iPad, and he could actually remote into their iPad and help them. And that's a more universal program than Quick Assist. But Quick Assist is built into Windows, so it's there. But if you know you're going to be doing tech support for a while, Quick Assist, the window size that it gives you to control the other screen is rather small. And RustDesk, you don't have to install it. You just run the executable and type in the code, and you connect it to the other person. So there's nothing to install.
Yep, and it works. So so if somebody asked you to Quick Assist, and you're comfortable with them saying what's on your computer or running your computer, then do it. But if you call tech support for something and you're talking to somebody overseas, especially if it's not HP and you thought it was HP, you don't want to give them that access. So be very careful of who you allow to have that access.
Correct. And you have to also be logged into a Microsoft account. If you log into your local PC and you want to provide technical support, you won't be able to.
Okay, here's one of the, this is the second article I've had with How to Geek, isn't there? All right, 10 Windows settings that you didn't know you could change. Let's go ahead and look at the reader mode. I really like this reader mode, because you can still see the website if you need to. And here is nice large print. And you can change the size of that print, by the way, and even make it bigger. 10 Windows settings. So takeaways: customize and optimize Windows with lesser known settings for better interaction and productivity. Automate features like Nightlight, Do Not Disturb, Storage Sense for a smoother experience, and tweak settings for File Explorer, data usage, startup items, and more to enhance your Windows experience. Now you'll see the word add here. That's a product of the reading mode. There was an ad there, and all they do is put the word add, so you don't, in most cases, don't see the ads. Once in a while, it lets one in. Anyway, although Microsoft has improved the out-of-the-box Windows experience last few years, it still leaves a lot to be desired. So there's a night light. And what the night light does, instead of being bright white on your screen, it tints it down so it's not quite as glaring. And I like that. And you can set what times that you want it to go on and go off. And you want to do that, and it tells you press the Windows I key plus the I key and open up settings, go to systems display and night light. So let's go ahead and Windows I. And then what was the next one? Display and night light. Display and night light. So right here, I've got it turned on. If I click on this, I can't show you. If I turn it on right now, you don't see my screen color, so it won't make any difference. But you can show warmer colors on your display to help you sleep. So, and you set what settings you want, and I can change the settings so I can make it not quite as bright, and then I can schedule it too if I want by clicking that on, and then it says sunset to sunrise or set the hours, and then you can tell it what time you want it to turn on, what time you want it to turn off. Boy, is that bright. I know you can't see it, but sunrise is sunset, and we don't schedule it, and then there we go. So that's how you do that. Let's see. Do not disturb hours. Like the nightlight, you can automate the do not disturb hours on your PC too. In addition to setting for specific hours, you can auto enable DND to activate while playing a game and when using an app in full screen mode or when duplicating the display during a presentation. So what it basically is doing, do not disturb, is it won't do an automatic update while you're in the do not disturb hours. Storage Sense is a neat utility automatically freeing up space, and it deletes temporary files, and it offers some different cleanup schedules and other options for Storage Sense. And then disable tabs from apps when snapping, and enable end task in taskbar. So you can actually enable the end task to be right in the taskbar. So you can, if you've enabled the developer mode in Windows, you got to do that first. You can access a tweak and tweak a couple of neat add-ons. The first one is the ability to end any app task right from the Windows taskbar. You don't need to open the task manager in order to do that, but you have to enable the developer mode, which probably is not a good idea for most of you. And then from now on, whenever you want to end a task, you can do it right from the taskbar. And I mentioned earlier, enable the file extensions and File Explorer and so on. So there's some other things here that you want to check out. Is Microsoft Defender good enough for 2024? Well, let's go ahead and go to reader mode. Basically, the takeaways in this article is Microsoft Defender was once terrible, but now it offers solid baseline protection against malware. With a focus on user comfort and integration, Microsoft has improved Defender significantly over the years. Cloud protection is a key feature that allows Microsoft Defender to identify new threats in real time for better defense. I happen to use Defender as my antivirus because I have enough confidence in it. The problem is with any antivirus, one of them discovers a new virus and updates, then releases that information for the other antivirus companies, then they update their virus protection. So one will find one new one, another one will find another new one, and so on. So one's always a little bit more update than the other, but it in the end ends up about even. And so I'm comfortable in using Windows Defender. I don't know how many of you use Word, but let's go ahead and take a look at this. We're in reader mode. Some quick links in here. Pressing enter to create gaps between paragraphs. Press enter to move to a new page. Use the spacebar to indent paragraphs and adding word art and low resolution images. So these are some quick links in the article. When I trained as a document production specialist, that's the writer of this article, for legal firms, I realized that I had picked up bad Microsoft Word habits over the years. What I learned has since transformed my use of this powerful program. And here are the most important things you should avoid when getting started. Pressing enter to create gaps between paragraphs. Don't hit enter to do that. When you finish a paragraph, press enter to move to the next line and start the next paragraph. Sometimes, however, you notice that there isn't a white space between your paragraphs, meaning it's difficult to see where one ends and the other begins. You might be tempted to press enter again and create that extra space, but this can lead to formatting issues. For example, if you do this at the end of a page, the first line of the next page might not be aligned to the edge of the upper margin as you would expect, meaning your text begins in different places on each page. Also, if you increase the font size across your whole document, this double space you created might become too large and look untidy. So and if you share that document with somebody else and you've put in extra spaces instead of a tab, or you put in an extra line by hitting enter, it can really create a lot of things when someone's trying to go in and fix that document or update that document, and you've done some strange things to make it look nice on the particular copy that you're printing, but in the long run, it creates a lot of issues. And so be careful on what you do to make it look nice. And that's pretty much what this whole article is about. Manual bolding your headings. Now that your paragraphs are nicely spaced, you might want to add a heading. You might be used to selecting the text and pressing Control B to turn the heading bold. But in doing this, it can lead to nagging inconsistencies and formatting issues. Instead, you need to use the Styles group in the Home tab on the ribbon. And so these are the kind of things we're talking about. So when you go to do something, don't do it the way you used to do it with a typewriter. Do it the way Word wants, and Word works best. Okay, that's it for that article, and we'll take a break and see if there's any discussion, comments on any things we covered. Barbara, go ahead. You're muted. There
There
you go.
used to be in Word where you could show the formatting symbols. Does that still show up?
Good question.
It's possible, but you need to be a user that uses it frequently enough to know how to turn it on.
Yeah, there is the backward P in the toolbar that turns on the codes.
The paragraph,
Control P?
No,
No, let me show you here.
it's up in the
Let's open up
toolbar.
Word.
Yeah,
paragraph symbol on the toolbar.
the
Yes,
symbols. Yeah,
that's
but
it,
you
the
have to
paragraph
know,
symbol on the toolbar.
Right here.
you have to know what the symbols mean.
You got to turn on your screen sharing, Hewie.
Oh, yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? Hang on just a moment. I was showing you, but you weren't seeing. Right here is the backward P, which is a paragraph designator. When you click that, it turns it on, and you'll see it here. And I think that turns them all on. I just don't have any others in there. Yeah, you see here, there's an arrow there. And the P at the end of each one is an ending paragraph. And then if you want the spacing different, where you're going to go is you're going to go, let's see here.
Yeah, under paragraph.
And then line spacing, it's at multiple, it's 1.16. If you want a single spacing, you just click there and go to single, and it will change the spacing of everything to single. And then say okay. And I don't know if you noticed it or not, but it did make it a little bit smaller between lines. So you can adjust what you want there. And so there's a lot of adjustments that you can do here. This is where you want to do it so it's consistent throughout your entire document. I hope, Barbara, that helps. Whoops. I want to save that.
Here
so
we
we'll
can't
just
hear you, Barb.
hang on. Yeah, let me go ahead and stop the share so I can see what's going on. Okay, Barb.
Okay. Also in Word, right now when you bring it up, the Calibri font style is the default, and when I want to change it to Arial, each time I have to do that. Is there a way of setting Arial up as my default?
Yeah, there's a place where you can set the defaults. I don't off the top of my head know where they are, but let's take a look and see. I got to share my screen again, don't I?
That's the tricky, yeah.
And what's it here? Here's an article. No, it's nothing in it.
You
Where's
can
that
choose
article?
you can choose an Office 2003 template as your default template.
Oh,
It's also under the little lower right-hand corner square with the arrow in it in the font box.
Right here.
and I can set that so each time I bring up the program, Arial will come up?
Right here, right? You set it what you want it to be,
Default.
and then it says set as default.
Okay. In that little box there. Okay,
Yep.
Mhm.
And that's the
great.
little arrow and under fonts.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then I
I've done
can set the size also there.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you. Wow.
Worth coming today, huh? But Pager made it worth the price of the program.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and stop the share. See if there's anything else. Steve, you have your hand up.
Yeah, is there a way to clear the cache in everything? The search program, everything? Because I did a search for NFO files that I wanted to remove, and it found something like 4,000 of them. I selected them all and tried to remove them, and it either got stuck part way through or never completed or was taking far too long to do it. And I ran it again for it to find NFO files. It found a bunch that weren't there. I try to click on them to delete them and it says file doesn't exist, but yet it was showing up in everything. So I moved the directory that it thought it saw an NFO file. And when I redid the search again in everything, it had actually changed the directory that it thought that file was in, even though there was no NFO file. So there's something in the cache of everything that's stuck somehow, and I just haven't been able to figure out how to clear it. Have you ever had anything like that happen?
If you go into everything and you go into options, there is an indexes section, and there is an option to re-index your files. And there's also an option to exclude and include folders. So if you have search results where you're getting 5,000 results from a hidden folder like app data, you can go into everything and exclude that folder from the search. and then rebuild the index, and it will get rid of all that stuff.
Okay, so rebuilding the index is in what on the taskbar?
It's in Tools Options.
Okay.
I think I'm sharing my screen. Yes. Okay. Tools, options.
And then if you click on indexes and then folders, there's an option that says rescan now or rescan all now.
Force rebuild.
Yeah, where was force rebuild?
Under indexes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if you go to folders, you can choose whether you want to, oh, you don't have any in there. If you had added custom folders in here, you would have some additional menu choices that tells you to rescan all or rescan only the one that you just added. But that's that's where you go to manipulate your indexes.
Yeah. One other thing that if you use everything, it's not quite as complex as what we're just talking about. But if you want to search, let's say it defaults with everything, but if you only want to look at pictures, if you just do that, you'll only see JPEGs and other picture files, PNGs, and so on. That's all you'll see. But if you do that, remember to change it back, because then you'll find the files that you want.
Inside.
Right.
Okay, let's go ahead and stop the share again.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
What the hell's that mean?
Diane, I'm going to mute you because I'm not sure if you were talking to us or not. Anyone? Okay, let's go back. We got a few minutes, and let's go ahead and
Take
share.
a few more because I'm next and I have to, I'm trying to catch up.
Okay. All right, so we're in 7 reasons Outlook is better than Gmail. I'm not going to go into this because, and I'm not sure whether the changes that they're making in Outlook are going to change the fact that Outlook might be considered better by some. I happen to use both. I don't use a Gmail app. I just go to Gmail on the web to various Gmail accounts, but I also have Gmail in my Outlook, and I also have it in my Outlook online, and so I can read the files. I also have my Gmail in my mail on my iPad, so I can read all of my emails there. And I like it better on my iPad because I can look at all of my email addresses in one list, where on Outlook, I have to go to each email address separately to read the mail. Okay, so next one. Microsoft releases Power Toys. I've talked about Power Toys many times, and I know some of you either don't remember because you don't use them or don't know what they are. Let me go ahead and go to the reader mode again. What Power Toys are a series of apps, and you'll notice it's not even version 1, and it never has been. They've been around for years, and they update them. But they're programs that are written by Microsoft employees that are tools to help you as a power user. And there's an advanced paste, there's a color picker, there's a developer file preview, a developer files preview, environment variables, File Explorer add-ons, Find My Mouse, Host File Editor Installer, Peek, and Power Rename, and Power Toys Run, Quick Accent, and Screen Ruler. I happen to use something other than the one they have, but and I'll show you that in just a moment. It was an old program that I've just carried over for many years. Some settings and documentation and so on. So there's some great power toys that you do have to run power toys, and then they're available as in memory. So let's go here. And what I wanted to do was, what was I going to show you now? Now I lost my train of thought. Let me go back to that and see if I can recall what I was going to show you. Oh, the ruler. I have one that I've carried over through many computers, and it's called sruler.exe. It was shareware at one time. I've had it for years. I don't have the paid version, but let me show you what it does. When I double click it, there I have a ruler, and if I want to measure something, let's say a picture, most of the picture programs now tell you what the sizes are, but you can figure out right here is from the beginning to right here is 600 pixels from the edge. So you can move this around and figure out how far you want something. And if you want it to go the other way, well, just click this box and it'll go the other way. Neat little program, and then I think this shuts it off. Yep. Just doesn't run in the background. It runs from the file. It's not installed. It's just a free, it's an exe file, and it just sits out there. And when I click it, it opens up the file. So that's what I use, but they have something similar to that in Power Toys. And let's go back to at here and close that. And top 10's Windows productivity tips. And Windows intelligence readers agree. Intelligence readers. Every PC user should know these tips and tricks. Clipboard history. If you're not using clipboard history, turn it on. And what it does is if I click something that I want to save and I do a Control C and then do Control V, obviously I can paste it into whatever I'm looking at. But let's say it was maybe 3 clicks ago. If I do a Control, or I'm sorry, I hit the Windows key and held it too long. The Windows key V will bring this up, and then I can go back and see different, and then click on it, and then that one will become the one that I can use. So I can go back several clicks. When you reboot your computer, it clears it out. It doesn't save it. But that's built into Windows. Instead of Control V to paste, you do a Windows V, and it brings up the choice, and you can pick and choose which one. So that's the clipboard history, the power user menu, and that's if you come here to your start menu and right mouse click, you will find all of your power user items from installed apps, power options, event viewer, system, device manager, network connections, disk management, computer management, terminal admin, task manager, settings, file explorer, search, run, and shut down or sign out. So just by right mouse clicking your start button, you have choice of all of those. So if you want to go to, let's see, power options or installed apps, let's see what it goes to the installed apps in your settings program. So use that. Right mouse click the start button. Productivity number 3, plain text pasting. Copy and paste. Remember I said I copy it into Notepad and then copy it back into Word. Well, it sometimes if you do a Control Shift V instead of Control V, it will, in most applications, it will now, let's see, it works in Word, which I don't use this, but maybe I should. Copy pasting text on a PC can be a pain if you end up copying formatting. Okay, you can paste just the plain text in nearly any application if you use the right shortcut. Press Control Shift V instead of Control V. Okay, we'll have to try that. Yeah, I learned something today too. Windows productivity. Number 4, a website as an app. And this tells you how to go ahead and make a website. If you frequently use web apps, you might want to install them as applications. So to do this in Google Chrome, visit the website you want to turn into an app. Okay, let's take the one we're using right now. Okay, click the menu button on Chrome's toolbar and select Save and Share. So we're going to come up here and is this where we want to go? Save and share. And create a shortcut. And create a shortcut. And name it whatever you want. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Create a shortcut and then say create. And that should be on our desktop now.
Mhm.
Is it there?
I'm looking for you.
And I am too. I forgot what I called it. There it is right here. Move it over here and then double click it. It takes me right to it. So now I have a shortcut to that website. That's how easy it is. Uh-oh, I closed out my program and I had all those tabs open. Control
Shift T.
Shift and the letter T. Guess what? Brings them all back.
I watched you do that and I didn't say anything. I'm so sorry.
You did that on purpose, really.
Yeah. No, you know, that's one of the reasons I switched to Brave because it asks and Chrome doesn't. And I do it frequently, but the Control Shift T gets me back to where I want to be. So we just covered that and accidentally hit print. This article will tell you how you can pause or cancel a print job in Windows 11.
Oh, let me interrupt for one quick second.
Sure.
In your Chrome, if you go into settings, there's an on startup option, and you may have it set to open the new tab page. You can say continue where you left off, and then it will bring back the tabs you had before.
Yeah, but frequently I don't want to do that. So I'd rather do the Control Alt T.
Okay.
Or Control Shift T. But yeah, you can do that too. But I don't do it enough that every time I start Windows, I don't want to do that. But okay, so if you accidentally hit print, you can pause or cancel a print job. This article tells you how to do it. Even with screen captures. So it's a good article for your perusement. Microsoft explains why it wants you to switch to Microsoft account from a local account. If you have a local account, in other words, you don't sign into Microsoft to open up your Windows, you really should, and they tell you why and how to do it. Microsoft deletes the guide to migrate. There was a way in which you could. They even had a guide that will let you change it from a Windows account to a local one, and now they've taken that away. And Windows 10 will get 5 years of additional support thanks to a third-party program called OPatch. I'm not going to go into this. I haven't really read through this and how it works. Drivers updates. That's an ad, and I want it to go away. So close. And then, that's right. And this article just tells you what OPatch is and what it does and so on, how to get it. Costs 61, let's see, the ESU program costs $61 a year.
Isn't that a 0 instead of an O? Zero patch.
Were you seeing this?
Well, the name Zero Patch. You were saying O Patch, but I think that's
Oh,
a 0
You
rather
could
than
be,
O.
you could be correct. I'll let you win on that one. Okay, and let's see, Microsoft. Oh, if sticky notes. I know Robin used to use sticky notes. I just find them to be a pain, but if you like the sticky notes, you can have virtual, computer sticky notes instead of pieces of paper all over your screen. But in order to use it, you have to use notes. So you have to open up notes in order to get to it. And I thought that was a negative about it. And Get App. Let's see what this was about. Oh, this was I happened to come across this. Let's say you want some kind of program and you don't know what the program is. If you come here and you say, let's see, CRM software, call center software, scheduling software, accounting software, say accounting software, it will give you a bunch of, I believe these are free programs that are available. Maybe not. QuickBooks Online, I don't think is free. So let's see if I click on that. Get price. Okay. So, but this will tell you what program you might want to use if you're looking for a particular program. Most of these are businesses, but appointment scheduling, document management, contractor management, construction, time tracking software. If you're interested in any of these software type programs and you don't know which ones would be good, you might want to take a look at this website. So if document management software, and there's Google Drive, Dropbox Business, Google Docs, Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, and DocuSign. So just a reference website. And we went through that already. And best and worst home internet providers. Now, if you're not sure who you want to handle your internet and who you want to buy it from, or you're not happy with yours, what you can do is read this article, and I believe it gives you the ability to look up in your area. Let's see. Select the donation amount. Let's see. Yeah, trending. No. Access ratings. Consumer reports, find which products are rated better than the rest. And I guess it'll give you information on providers for ISP. And then stop giving companies your real email. We're not going to have time for this, but this article and then the next one is to give you a 10-minute mailbox. And let's see, then how to make free tools to make everything simple, your life simple. And so you can take a look and see what tools are available for these various things. And Windows 11 latest updates, kind of insane in a bad way. And that would get us back to here. And at this point, I am going to I want to thank you. This has been the Central Florida Computer Society and Sarasota Technology User Group combined Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG, for Sunday, July 14th, 2024. We covered a lot of topics. We answered a lot of questions, learned a lot, I hope. And until next month, I'm Hewie Poplock. Thanks for joining us.